How many of us have felt thwarted by procrastination, by imposter syndrome, by burnout? These don't just affect our productivity, they strike at our sense of self-worth and our identity and our purpose. And they are widespread, as we saw. For nearly 30 years, I've taught Berkeley and now Princeton faculty how to design engaging courses, and I've coached students to adapt, learn, and perform at the highest levels. And during this time, I've watched procrastination rise, intrinsic motivation decline, and more students struggle to transition into demanding environments where they have to not just learn new skills, but reconceptualize who they are. I've learned that procrastination isn't laziness, it's self-protection, a defense against the fear of failure, but more fundamentally, the feeling of inadequacy that threatens our sense of self-worth. When we disengage, we're protecting how we feel about ourselves, not merely avoiding the task at hand. So the real solution isn't another productivity hack. It lies in self-awareness, understanding why we act the way we do, and then learning how to respond differently. And research confirms that awareness of our own motivational dynamics drives genuine, lasting change. And that's why we've created Vogue Academy, a digital learning platform built on the insights of self-worth theory of achievement motivation. The same paradigm I spoke about in my TEDx talk, which so far has gotten 3.3 million views, and is the basis for a new podcast. It's already garnered over 2,700 subscribers in just a few months. Self-worth theory helps us understand and therefore overcome complex, vexing, self-defeating patterns like procrastination, like writer's block, like imposter syndrome. Our courses combine short, engaging videos with interactive processes and exercises that promote reflection, introspection, and then building and applying personalized toolkits of research-based strategies you can apply for oneself. So for example, our procrastination course rests on the idea that procrastination is multifaceted, it's not simple. And therefore, we draw upon research-based strategies and tools from a variety of different disciplines that correspond to each one of these facets. One of our early users, Nina, a UN psychologist, was really stuck for months on a big project. From the course, she learned that the underlying dynamics that were really holding her back weren't what she had thought. And so she developed a new approach to overcoming procrastination, was able to make progress toward her ambitions and aspirations. But this is only the first phase of our course, of our approaches. The opportunity here is enormous. The global e-learning market is projected to surpass $500 billion by 2030. Yet e-course completion rates remain under 10%. So even modest improvements translate into huge value for universities, employers, and learners alike. So Vogue Academy sits at the crossroads of these two trends. Our next phase will flip the traditional e-course model into an AI-driven coach that provides insights based on the individual personalized contributions of the user. So this innovation will tackle this low completion rate that's really been disappointing, transforming people. If we want to transform, you have to engage and complete the course. So we think that education isn't just about what you know, it's about who you become. So we empower students to understand themselves, overcome inner obstacles, and then come to their work and their lives with purpose and meaning. Thank you. So I'd like to invite up my business partner, Matt Frawley. Dr. Matt Frawley. Love to hear your question.
There is.
Matt, I think this mic is live, so I can talk on this and you can be on that one.
I have a lot of questions, but I'll start with one. Right now, one of the trends that we see in tech is that a lot of young people turn to, and adults alike, turn to new AI tools like ChatGPT as like their counselor, their coach, their advisor. How do you compete against that type of platform or space that provides that sense of ease?
That's a good question. I think one is that the coach is only as good as the input, and what we're doing in our courses, the courses become sources of input for that coach. So we ask particular questions, like I said, to introspect and reflect those are based in a research-based theory, so self-worth theory of achievement motivation. We think that's particular to achievement context. So I don't know so much about those other coaches, but what I can say is this is really sound, and we're gathering information that's then very personalized and is specific to these dynamics that have been demonstrated over 40 years of research.
And I would just add that ultimately, we're not creating a dependence, which I think is really important and really a concern with a lot of these platforms. Because it's introspective, it's really about your own agency and activity, if that makes sense. So I think that's one way. I mean, obviously there's going to be guardrails and whatnot that we'll be building into the platform, but through the context engineering. But ultimately, it's about introspection and your own detective work on yourself.
So you mentioned one of your early users, Nina. Can you talk a little bit more about the development of this product and other prototyping you've done, or how many users you've brought through the development cycle to iterate and develop the course?
So there's probably two answers. There's the technical piece, so maybe I'll start with mine. I think in some ways I've been working on this course since I was an undergrad, procrastinating a lot. And then in grad school, I met a motivational psychologist who introduced this research that really unraveled this puzzle. And I've been teaching workshops and courses for literally 20 years. So in some level, it's been evolving for a long time. I've continued to do the research and literature. And so I had many students on this campus and other places to try out these workshops in different iterations, and I've gone across the country to do some of these. So those people were moving through and did evaluations. So that's one level in terms of the content, if you will. Another piece that underlies the design is I'm essentially an instructional designer. I wrote a book on how to design courses to engage students, specifically that engages their intrinsic motivation. So it decreases the fear and avoidance that often underlies imposter syndrome, writer's block. And so again, those are workshops, books, materials, videos that we've tried out and gotten various kinds of feedback on. I don't know if you want to answer from your angle, Matt.
Well, someone who's done a lot of e-courses, just as a tech guy, they're boring. And we know that. And so we wanted to create interactivity on the courses themselves. So we we can demo out there, but so the courses, like when you do the videos, they actually pause and will ask you reflective questions that you can answer, then you start the video up again. And there's actually interactivity. We have a drag and drop for the procrastination course. We wanted that level of interactivity on the platforms themselves. Now, developing that was a product of ourselves, having Nick critique me a lot, and then, but also we just demoed it with a lot of friends and family to get it working to a point where people really thought it was quite engaging.
Have you built any mindfulness theory into the platform?
What do you mean by mindfulness theory? I study mindfulness, but what do you mean by it?
I like to differentiate Langerian mindfulness from Eastern mindfulness practices of inner searching on the Eastern side and Langerian mindfulness, for you Harvard folks over here, about external, looking outwards towards your understanding your place in the world.
So I'd say that I might put that primarily in terms of attention more than mindfulness. That's the terminology that we use. So the one question is, where do we lay or rest our attention? And that's crucial for how we engage, the quality of our engagement. So we don't usually use that word very much, but the idea of where we put our attention is crucial. So for instance, one of the key factors that makes extrinsic motivations less helpful is that your mind is elsewhere. Eyes on the prize is thinking about how somebody's going to evaluate you and then compare you to somebody else and then decide to give you a prize or not. That's very far away from the process of writing something or creating something. So where is your attention? So yes, mindfulness in terms of directing your attention, then getting better at concentrating that attention underlies what we do, absolutely. That's one dimension of this multifaceted approach, for instance, I described procrastination. Our mind is elsewhere. We are preoccupied elsewhere, which is one of the reasons we're fearful it's out of our control.
So I know we have a couple of seconds. I would love a quick question, but are these reoccurring customers that you have, or is it once they have a goal and they complete it, they're outside of the course?
Well, we're creating more courses. If I understand your question.
Well, I think there's two answers. One is we have two courses right now. We have 4 in the pipeline. And secondly, with the procrastination course, the platform itself is the tool. And we encourage them to keep coming back because you evolve as a person. So in 2 or 3 years, whatever context was the most important for you 5 years ago might not be so now. So it's important to come back and continue to evaluate, continue working on the platform. So we do want people to continually engage with it. And I just want to make one plug. We do have a Vogue Academy talk we do. It's a video series, really a podcast. And just, Nick studies Buddhism, and I am a Kierkegaard scholar who does a lot of work with contemplative Christianity. And we are always getting down to that level, and it's a very interesting dialogue that we have on that level.
Interesting to us.
Yes, exactly.
And a few
And a
hundred.
growing number of people
Yeah, yeah.
as well. So anyway, just to answer your question, that mindfulness, it's a very, we talk about it a lot and wrestle with it. So thank you.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Thanks.